Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Marshfield Zoning Board of Appeals, Tuesday, September 26, 2023 meeting. This is a hybrid meeting, and you're being taped on MCTV. If you're dialing in on a phone, please dial *6 to mute and unmute yourself. Is anyone out there? No, Feeney's, I don't see him out there. There's no Feeney out there, so we don't have to do a roll call. Gonna open up with 2378 Stephen and Shelley Erdley. The petitioners are seeking a special board permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to raise the existing house and construct a new 44-foot by 28-foot two-story dwelling on the property located at 15 Newport Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being K12-1510, located in the R3 zoning district. This applicant is asked to withdraw without prejudice. So do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
What was that?
Attendance.
Oh, no one's out there.
No one's on Zoom?
JJ's not going to be there, and I don't see Feeney.
Okay.
So we're all set. Okay, we have 2374 Thomas and Lisa McDonough.
Brian, it's just, I'm here just for the record, but that's okay.
Oh, okay, then we'll take a roll call. Go ahead, Larry.
Larry Keane here.
Brian Sullivan here.
Brian Murphy, present.
Heidi Conway, present.
Jean Lee, present.
Steve Feeney, President via Zoom.
So, Thomas and Lisa McDonough, the petitioners are seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 and 305-9023 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to raise the existing home and construct a new 30-foot by 44-foot flood-compliant dwelling on wood piles with a 14-foot by 15-foot porch at the rear and decks and arrears on the front, left side, and rear of the property, located at 23 Richard Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel K12-1212, is located in the R3 zoning district. Name and address for the record.
Richard Savant, Stembeck and Taylor, at 844 Webster Street. Representing the homeowners here, the McDonoughs. As you stated, they are proposing to demolish the existing home and construct a new home. Elevated on wood piles, a flood-compliant home. The new home meets or exceeds the previous setbacks of the house, or complies or improves on all the non-conforming setbacks that were existing on the existing home. The sidelines are slightly improved. The front setback complies with the street setback, and the rear, existing and proposed, complies with the setbacks. We're under the 40% max building coverage. We've been through conservation and got approval for that. So essentially, yeah, new flood compliant home. We did our best to make it improve the nonconformity or comply where it could. That's pretty much what we're proposing here. It is elevated. They're proposing to park underneath it. Aside from that, they're just putting a new home up on piles, and that's pretty much it.
Sounds good. Any questions from the board?
No, I'm fine.
Any questions from the audience on this? Seeing that there's none, I move that we close 2374 Thomas and Lisa McDonough.
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Okay, and I move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit, subject to conditions. This project will require compliance with a floodplain bylaw, a building permit, a certified as-built conforming to the requirements of 305-1010C, and a certificate of occupancy based on the finding that the applicants proposed to raise the existing home and construct a new 30-foot by 44-foot flood compliant dwelling on wood piles and a 14-foot by 15-foot porch at the rear and deck, a rear on the front left side in rear on the property located at 23 Richard Street, and is shown on the architectural plans dated 6/20/23 by Custom Home Designs of 79 Grandview Terrace, Marshfield, 4 pages, and certified location plan dated 8/11/23 by Stenbeck and Taylor Incorporated, Rich Savant, PLS, meets the special permit criteria in section of the 1012 bylaw. The board also finds that the following general conditions 1 through 10 of a special permit are to be fulfilled. Do I have a second? All in
Second.
favor?
Aaron Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
2375, Joseph Murphy. In accordance with 305-10-9 of the Marshfield Municipal Code, petitioner is seeking an appeal of the building commissioner's determination that there is no violations of any town Marshfield bylaw or ordinance on the property located at 359 Forest Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel E110105 and is located in the R1 zoning district. Name and address for the record.
Joseph Murphy, 371 Forest Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I had filed a request for zoning enforcement, and on August 21st, Mr. Stewart sent me a letter, and he stated, "I have determined that the property in question is not in violation of any town of Marshfield bylaw or ordinance." I filed this complaint, the complaint referenced above, on April 26th, and I referenced 8 unregistered vehicles on the property, junk strewn, the backyard, the side yard, the front yard, and actually both side yards. May I give you a copy of some pictures here?
I think we have.
We have everything that you submitted.
Okay,
These ones?
thank you.
Thank you.
These pictures I included, and if we take a minute and we look at numbers 1 through 4, there are 5 unregistered vehicles in the front yard. Number 3 is the view from my patio that I see every single day. Number 3 is also a picture.
Mr. Murphy, if I could interrupt you for a second. Photograph number 3 that you want us to look at.
It's right there.
Yes,
That's picture number 5.
that's 5.
All
Can we
5.
go back to 3? The 2 vehicles in the foreground, are those your vehicles?
Yes, that is-
And there's the fence?
Yes.
Then on the other side of the fence, that's what we're talking about?
Yes, that's a tractor and a tractor trailer, not 10 feet from, more than 10 feet from the property line.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear, because I wasn't sure if that was one of the vehicles you were complaining about.
The
But,
white vehicle in the Toyota, that's my personal car.
Okay.
The tractor and the trailer in the background are one of the vehicles in question.
so that fence presumably is on or close to the property line?
Very close to the property line.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
thank you.
sorry for interrupting.
No, please, anytime. Now, I didn't take another photo of that from my bedroom, but my bedroom is just above where we're sitting there, so when, this is my wife over here, who might have something to ask in a minute or two, but this is the view we get every single day. And then if you look at photo number 1, I know I jumped around a little bit, that shows some kind of HVAC system or whatever as junk on the trailer itself. Numbers 5 and number 6.
I'm sorry. Could we go back to number 1? Now, I see, looks like it might be like a Ford Explorer, something like that. And you're saying the HVAC unit, that's behind the white car that's got the front end damage?
That represents 3 unregistered vehicles. The trailer on the back of it is unregistered, has no license plate, and has some type of an HVAC unit, and it's been stored there for years.
Okay, I only see 2 vehicles in that photo.
There appears to be a license plate on the Explorer.
I'll go through every one of them. The grayish SUV to the left is 1. The white SUV is 2. And the trailer is likewise unregistered. So those are 3 unregistered vehicles.
I don't know that I don't know that a trailer is a vehicle, but we can,
I have the
Argue
reference
this,
here in the town bylaws, if
Okay,
you
okay.
dare me to dig it out. but they are considered an unregistered vehicle for this purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Numbers 5 and 6, they show unregistered vehicles in the backyard and all sorts of junk and debris. Right there on that one there, number 5, you'll see that there's that pickup truck with the orange lights on top of it, unregistered. It's been in that position for 4 or 5 years. In the foreground, you will see that there is a trailer with that tire on it. That is unregistered and has been there for several years. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's another vehicle to the left there. It's some kind of either a jet ski, a skidoo, right there. It's a little tough to see, but right where the pointer is there is, I believe it's a Sea-Doo, a jet ski. That likewise is unregistered. Photos 7 through 11 show junk, debris in the front and the side yard. That wood fence is mine, so you can see the junk along there. And you can see the tractor trailer. That's a little close-up of it.
Is this the backyard or the front yard?
That's the side yard.
Side.
That's visible from the street. And I apologize for the positioning, but that's one of 3 either air conditioners or HVAC systems that are present. One on this side, one on the left side of the house, and one in the trailer that you saw the picture before. Okay, so I waited 2 months, and nothing was done, and I appreciate everybody's busy and all this other stuff. But on June 26th at 12:36 in the afternoon, I called and asked to speak to him, to Mr. Stewart. And I learned that he was out of town on a vacation, which is fine, wouldn't be back till after the 4th of July. I left a detailed message with the person who answered the phone. I identified myself, described the nature of my call to get a status report, and then I asked, please leave a message because I wanted to talk to him. He never called me back. On August 14th, I wrote him a letter requesting an update, and I requested an in-person meeting. He never called me back. In his report to me, he says, on several occasions, the local building inspector and I have performed field investigations to determine whether or not this is in compliance. He concludes that there is nothing that is out of compliance. I would like to present you with a photo taken from the street which supplements those photos you have. Can I bring this up?
Yeah.
This is a photo taken of the house from the end of my driveway, which abuts theirs. And from that position, with a little explanation, I will mention that that gray SUV in the front yard has a set of expired mass plates on them, expired in 2020 or 2021. The white SUV with the damage to the front has New Hampshire plates on it, expired over 5 years ago, and the trailer has no license plate on it, period, unregistered. If you look to that large white behemoth of a vehicle, there's actually 2 vehicles there. The front is a tractor trailer, is the tractor. The back is the tractor trailer. Unregistered. It's been there for over 5 years. As a secondary note, that truck is in violation of the town bylaw relative to size of commercial vehicles. I have copies of all these here. Bylaws state that with a commercial vehicle, they're not allowed to be any larger than a 1/2 ton truck. Mr. Roffe, he states, has a Class 2 license for the buying and selling of secondhand motor vehicles from the town of Marshfield. He does not expand on that, and I have a copy of that Class 2 license here. The Class 2 license in Marshfield only permits you to use your home office, kind of like a Carvana. You make a call to the house, they'll find a car for you, and then whatever arrangements they make to get it. and it specifically prohibits any vehicles on the property. They cannot be displayed anywhere on the property. So that's a Class 2 license. And he goes on to talk a bit about a junk permit. And insofar as the junk permit is concerned, he suggests that I contact the selectman's office. Well, I suggest that he, in his writing, use the Class 2 license as kind of a way to mitigate the fact that cars are there. I took the inference that because you have this license, you can have cars, buy them, sell them, whatever you want to do. It also prohibits working on cars. And he also directed me to the selectman's office to find out if this family, the Rofi family at that address, had a junk license. Well, they don't. I went to the selectman's office, and as a little anecdote there, they said, we've never issued a junk license in the town of Marshfield. So the inference that I took from this letter is that he threw that in there to maybe throw me off. He should have investigated that to find out whether or not they had the junk license. If they did, it would have been a whole different matter, but that's not the case. So, kind of in a nutshell, I presented to you the outline of what I did to take pictures and document all of the vehicles and all of the junk, and I believe that those are not allowed based on our bylaws. In addition, I'm sure you have these, but these are the copies of the bylaws relative to junk and to junk cars. If you have a copy, that's fine. If not, I have that right there. And what else do we have here? One last thing. So my petition today is, I'm not going to bring this up there, but I just wanted to reinforce, that's what I look at every day. That's what my wife looks at every day when we get up and look out our bedroom window. Now, what I'm asking for is this. I have documented in my mind 10 violations. Each of these violations can be fined $100 per day for the existence of these violations. I'm not asking for that. I'm not really interested in the fine. If Mr. Stewart made a fine, or if you a rule that there should be a fine, that doesn't bother me one way or the other. I want to get rid of the junk. I want to get rid of the junk vehicles. It's an eyesore to my wife, to me, my guests, and it's all prohibited by town bylaws. That tractor trailer doesn't belong there, whether it's licensed, insured, titled, or anything. The bylaw specifically prohibits vehicles of that size in a commercial nature. And I will also inform you that I have the documents here in front of me. Marshfield Town has already fined Mr. Rofi 2 times, $100 each, for having other trucks on his property, big white box trucks. So I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Andrew, would you like to speak at all, or?
Sure. We'll go back to the letter. So, this has been going on for a long time. All the previous building commissioners, at least I think going back to Mike Lancy and Bob Wiley, maybe, have had this complaint as well. There have been various states that the property has been in over the years. There have been different actions that have been taken. I myself have issued fines in the past to the property. Those fines were rescinded because they cleaned some stuff up, and because they got their DEA squared away, got their license squared away with the select board. What has happened here is basically what I was trying to do was direct them to what I thought was the most appropriate course of action that they should take here. Because I don't think they've actually violated a bylaw in this case. I don't know how to weigh that truck. I don't know what it weighs. I don't know that it violates anything as far as weight goes. I'm not a truck guy, I'm a wood guy, really, is what it comes down to. But all the stuff in the backyard, I get it. I've had meetings, about this with them, but I would not want to look at all that stuff in the backyard either. But I don't think that it truly meets the definition of substantial amount of junk as it's defined. And what I was trying to do by implying that they reach out to the select board, I would encourage him, and I still do, reach out to the select board. And they are the issuing authority for the license, for the used car license that says no display visible, vehicles visible from the street. So the violation is actually of the select board license. It's not of a zoning bylaw. It's of the select board license. So that's why I'm encouraging them to go to the select board, and maybe they can do something like rescind the license or enforce something to make sure that there are no display vehicles visible from the street. Because having a vehicle on your street, even if it's unregistered, having a trailer also, having two trailers, not something that's prohibited in the town of Marshfield. That's why I wrote that. I was trying to direct him to go for the license. I think that's the most appropriate thing. I spoke with town council who agrees, and that's kind of where I stand with it.
Thank you.
May I have
Do
a
you
minute to
anything from the audience? Go ahead.
I would like to rebut most of what he just said
We're
there.
hearing from the audience right
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Good evening, board. My name is Tom Rofi. I'm one of the owners. My wife is the other owner of the property. And we have complied with and done everything that the building department has asked us to do when they came out. Now, by order of the Selectmen Board, we were issued a license several years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was. But I've had a dealer's license since 1971, wherever I lived. And I'm in compliance with it. He may not like it. If I lived in his house, maybe I wouldn't like it either. But we need that license to pay our bills. Now, if Mr. Murphy would like to pay for the cleanup, I'd willingly accept that.
Thank you. Do we have anything else from the audience? Go ahead.
My name is Terry Murphy, and I live across from him, Joe's wife. And that tractor trailer's been there for over 5 years. And I don't care what anybody says, it doesn't belong there. It brings down the value of all the houses on that street. When you go down, it's wide open. He took every tree down in the yard, so you'll see all those vehicles all the time. It brings down the value that should not be allowed. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But I'm telling you, you wouldn't want it next door to you any more than I want it next door to me. That tractor trailer does not belong there. Thank you.
Anything else?
The trees were taken down in 1992 when it was a single little tiny driveway, and I could not get out to work most mornings anytime there was a breeze. There was a tree across the driveway. So I cleared the lot of the trees. I was tired of dealing with the trees falling over. Okay? They have not liked that since then and have not stopped complaining to the town since then and have never been verified. Their complaints are nothing but harassment to me.
So anyone else from the audience? can go
Thank you
ahead.
very much. First of all, I want to be on record that we have never complained to the Rofi family or anybody living there about the trees. Never. Not once. Nor have we ever complained to anybody in the town about the trees. It's clearly his property. He has every right to take the trees down. We have no say in that. It doesn't make any difference whether I like it or I don't. That's his property. I agree with him. The second thing he just brought up was his dealer's license. I'm not challenging his dealer's license. I know he's had a business, I know he works hard, I have no issue with that, but the Class II license doesn't permit any vehicles whatsoever on that property relative to the dealer's license. The other rebuttal I want to make is to Mr. Stewart. If you looked at that tractor trailer, I'm not a mechanic, but that's not a half-ton or less. That tractor trailer has a gross vehicle weight of about 40,000 pounds. A tractor trailer is like a F-150, a GMC, whatever it is. It's a half-ton pickup. That tractor trailer is huge. He also referenced me going back to the selectmen again to deal with the issue of junk, a junk permit. I mentioned it earlier. They don't have a junk permit. The selectmen have no control and no issue over the fact that there's junk there because he doesn't have a junk permit. So that's my rebuttal. Very
Thank you.
simple. Thank you.
Go ahead.
If you look at the Class II dealer's license again, could you bring that up? Right there. Okay. No display of vehicles visible from the street, no advertising on the premises. I cannot put a for sale sign on anything. If you follow that down the rest of where they ran out of room, the full list of conditions are on file. And that's what I agreed to, not to put for sale signs out there. I do have authorization from them to put a sign on the front, and I opted not to.
Okay.
And
Is
he's
there any-
never once come over as a neighbor and said anything to me prior to filing a complaint. And I'm getting pretty tired of answering all these complaints.
All right, thank
So
you.
I would welcome a court case at any time the Murphys would like.
Thank you. Anything else from the audience? The board?
Andrew, are you responsible for enforcing the junk bylaw?
I mean, everything in the junk bylaw references either the select board or the planning board. The junk license is issued by the select board. I
No.
get that they have never issued one, but that's what the bylaw says.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry to interrupt, Andrew, but I'm not, he doesn't have a junk permit. But the bylaw references, quote, "a substantial amount of junk." Total weight not to exceed 75 pounds. I mean, you could drive around Marshfield all day and find that people have more than 75 pounds worth of junk in their yard. So I think it's kind of an absurd standard.
When that usually happens, it's usually a Board of Health issue, because it's a public health issue to have that much stuff. So like these hoarding cases and other issues where there's a lot of trash in the yard and other types of things, that's generally a Board of Health violation, and they'll deal with that. As far as the determining, you know, it's a general bylaw. I mean, am I responsible for enforcing the general bylaws? I mean, that's kind of debatable, and who that is, you know, so
Yeah.
I don't really, that's been kind of my issue with all of this, and, you know, I wouldn't mind an answer from, you know, about that, but, you know, this is the, you know, all the licensing, everything in here, everything references the select board. All the exceptions to all of this is the planning board. Violations and penalties, it doesn't really say who issues that or enforces it. It just says that they'll be liable to $20 or $55, whatever. And, so, you know, that's why I pretty much am focusing back at, you know, the fact that the select board has issued a license. There are conditions to that license. If the neighbor feels that the licensee is violating that license conditions, then they should direct that to the select board. I think they're the more appropriate thing to handle this case. Because quite honestly, everything, you know, it's a repeat, otherwise it's just a repeat complaint that we just had, every building commissioner has now dealt with, and now I've dealt with this is like the third or fourth time I've dealt with it.
Thank you, Andrew. So, anything else?
I just have a question. Because everybody's neighbors here and it's been going on for quite some time, is there any way that we could find some middle ground and that possibly maybe the cars that are, offensive to the neighbors could moved on the other side where it seems to be pretty shaded if there's no violation on, as far as your license or what have you, it could be moved to the side so they're not right out in front. Maybe put some arborvitae's up or something so that it's not in your view all the time. Because I do think personally, I think it's a select board issue. But if there's some way neighborly, we could just kind of stop it today. You make a plan maybe to move them over to the side, and you guys just talk amongst yourselves as neighbors because, we all live in the same town. You're going to see each other in the grocery store and what have you. I think it might be nice to be able to settle it that way rather than taking it bigger than it needs to be.
I think that's a great idea, and I'd be happy to do that. I dispute Mr. Stewart's last statement about it being the select board's issue about the junk. He doesn't have a junk permit, so I'm leaving that there. He was talking about the other aspect, about the Class 2 license and a couple. I'm not complaining about the Class 2 license. He's the one who brought it up. I've never complained about the Class 2 license. I know he has it. I know down the street by Poopsie's, he used to have a little office. That's not my complaint. That has nothing to do with his Class 2 license. Mr. Stewart brought that up, and I only brought it up to suggest that he can't have the cars on the property, whether it's in the front yard or the backyard.
So,
My opinion is everything here it still stays at a violation. That's my appeal to you.
okay, so
But to answer you
agree that
directly,
it's a select board
what-
issue.
pardon me?
I believe it's a select board issue, and that's what Mr. Stewart is trying to say. He's not the proper format to.
Well, he is. I have, since 2006, I filed a Freedom of Information request for 359 Forest Street. And in there, in addition to my complaints, there are other complaints about the same thing going on for a long time. And not only Mr. Stewart, but two prior building inspectors who had this responsibility have fined him. Mr. Stewart has fined him for what's happening here. So my position to you is that I have now either 3 or 4, I've got the records here, I'd have to dig them out, but at least 3, if not 4, building inspectors have fined Mr. Rafi for what I'm presenting to you again. So he's saying here it's a select board meeting. He's been fining him, and the other people have been fining him. But to answer your point directly, I'd be happy to go over there and shake hands with him, put an end to this junk. I'm not worried so much about the backyard. But let's get rid of the 3 unregistered vehicles in the front yard, one of which looks to be junk because it's been in some kind of an accident, and get rid of that tractor trailer. Whatever he does with it is fine. I'm not pushing for fines. And that's my position. That's a halfway meeting, because he can't put it on the other side. Well, physically he could, but that's right up against somebody else's house, the neighbor on the other side. So my recommendation is let's get rid of the tractor trailer, get rid of those 3 unregistered vehicles that are in the front yard, one of which is a trailer. There's a lot of junk in the front yard. I drove by there tonight, come here, I go right by there to come here. Things have not changed since that picture I presented to you. A couple of the cars have moved around a little bit. And I'm not being picky because that gray SUV on the front lawn there is now right up against the fence. But I feel obligated to tell you that's a violation of the town bylaw. An unregistered vehicle can't be within 10 feet of your house. So that's my proposal. Let's get rid of that stuff. I'm happy. I hope Mr. Rofi is not upset about that kind of a proposal.
All right, we've heard your testimony, we've heard his. I'm ready to, what's that? Go ahead. You can
You're
speak.
gonna find Kate on my property.
Okay.
Okay? There have been fines issued when I and the building department agent disputed definitions. And I've always won,
All right,
all right?
thank you.
One man's junk is another man's treasure.
I understand. So
Okay.
I'm just going to read this into the record. The planning board, Greg Guimont asked this. I requested this email read into the record of the zoning board of appeals, public hearing on this matter. Regarding the used auto sales, 359 Forest Street. The property is in the R1 residential and is within the water resource protection for the Furnace Brook Wells. The used auto sales and repair use is prohibited in the WRPD. Planning board was unaware of the business license. The property, from the photos in the ZBA file, does not appear property is complying with the conditions of the business license regarding storage and items in the business. Property is uphill 1,500 feet from the Furnace Brook well floor. Gasoline, oil, solvents, and should not be used in a commercial setting in a water resource protection. This use does not predate the creation of the WRPD. Sincerely, Greg Guimond, Town Planner. So I'm ready to
Brian,
close.
Can I respond to that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know, we saw what you said, but go ahead, Andrew.
I just want to respond to that because I didn't get a chance to talk to Greg before he sent this email. So this property was not issued a business license, and they're not operating a used auto sales and repair use at this location. The person who lives there was issued a license from the select board as a used car dealer.
Right.
They don't sell used cars on site, and none of the cars on site are for sale. Right? They don't advertise on site, and no commercial auto repair is performed at this location. The use of the property is residential. The individual stores, some unregistered vehicles on site that they own, and there's other registered vehicles. I just want to make it clear that the use of the property is residential. There is no commercial use, and they don't have a business license to conduct a use here. They have a doing business as license for home and home office and banking and mailing purposes only. That's it.
Thank you.
Real quick.
So I'm gonna,
Can I? Andrew, did the ZBA have anything to do with issuing this license? They didn't have to weigh in on it at all, correct? That was from the selectman's office, issuing the used car license?
The select board issued the the used car license, the class 2 used car dealer's license. That's a license from state law that is administered by them. And then as far as the DBA certificate, that's something that's been issued by the building department, going back for this address to 2012, I believe.
But I just want to make it clear that the ZBA never had anything to do with the issuing of this license, correct, this board?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And with the trailer, that tractor and the trailer that's there, the town, that's in no violation, that size of a vehicle? I mean, that's clearly not your average vehicle.
Clearly not your average vehicle. I don't know if he can reference a bylaw. I'd be happy to bring it up and we can look at it, but it's not anything that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Now, was that vehicle registered, do you know, that trailer or the tractor itself? Do you know?
I don't know. I can't see back in the license plate.
Okay. Yeah, and you had put in one of your comments that this gentleman who owns the property had cleaned it up from one of your prior visits, correct? Or made an attempt to clean it?
Generally, every time that the building department has gotten a complaint and has reached out to Mr. Rocky, he has cleaned it up to the point where we would accept it, and we're not gonna, I can't hold him to a different standard than I'm holding him to, a lot of these other properties around town. And when they get to a certain point, it becomes a board of health issue where it's a health and safety issue, they then can issue the violation and orders to clean up and all that other kind of stuff. But, when it's kind of like this and it's been an ongoing thing, I mean, you saw the file, you see all the different building inspectors that have dealt with this situation. It's like it just keeps popping up, so.
Yep.
By all means, you guys can come up with a solution so that this doesn't have to be a continual issue. But again, I felt like, the select board is most likely the best place for him to go, especially where their license prohibits the display of vehicles. That's kind of, I feel like the most, that's kind of the best thing he has to go on.
Got it, thank you.
In my opinion.
I'm gonna move to close 2375 Joseph Murphy, 359 Forest Street. Do I have a second? What?
May I be heard?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
On file downstairs in the clerk's office, it's two certificates of business. one for Rofi Electric at that address, and one for Rofi Family Enterprises at that address. So, your agent misspoke.
Thank you. I'm going to move to close 2375 Joseph Murphy, 359 Forest Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Do we have any discussion on this?
Is Tony?
Well, I'm just reading over what that's why I wanted to be clear that the ZBA, this board had nothing to do with issuing the license there. I personally think that would be a best avenue in front of the selectmen. It clearly says here that it doesn't differentiate anywhere here that whether it's a business vehicle being sold or anything. It says clearly, no display of vehicles visible from the street, no advertising premises, or auto repair performed. So it's to me, it's pretty clear that he's in violation of that. And that would cure a lot of your problems. The tractor trailer, I think, would be ordered to go. A couple of the other pieces would be ordered to go. His backyard is his backyard. I kind of agree with Andrew on that. But I
Okay,
think that would be your...
I
All right,
agree.
there's no discussion here. This is not an open discussion. We're closed.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, he was talking directly.
I know.
Yeah,
he was doing
yeah,
that.
I was. Sorry. But I personally think that would be his best direction.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I mean, I think it's a select board issue, but I would rather see the neighbors, kind of call it a day and make some different, make some different choices so that it doesn't have to get bigger than it already is.
I agree with that also.
Anyone else? Steve, you got anything?
No, not really.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to move that the board vote to deny the appeal of the appellant and affirm the decision of the building commissioner dated 21st August 2023, based on the information that the building department and Andrew, the commissioner, have supplied to us. And I believe this is a matter for either planning or the selectmen. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve Feeney, aye. I just add, Brian, I think Mr. Rofi, I think Mr. Keane and Ms. Conway both said it, but it's beyond him to maybe do a little bit of work there to help the neighbor. He said he would like to look at it. I just think that he could do a little bit to help the situation, and then let the appropriate board, the select board, or whomever else take care of it. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. 2376, Anthony W. Walker. Oh, sure. Can we keep at least
one
one?
for the record.
I'll just take one.
There you go. Thank you.
Anthony W. Walker.
33 years later, now you want to talk?
Trustee, petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code and/or finding under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 6, for a proposal of a 13-foot 1 by 11-foot 2 addition and decks on the non-conforming property, 2 houses on 1 lot located at 38 Raleigh Road, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel A113004, located in the R3 zoning district. Name and address for the record.
Anthony Walker, 38 Raleigh Road.
Go ahead.
I'm Richard Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor, working with the Walkers and the design team on this. So yes, we're proposing some work on the house. As you stated, this is a kind of a unique property. It has 2 houses on 1 lot that certainly predate any zoning regulations and anything. I'm sure you know the area in Old Wrexham. They're quite old homes. But at any rate, there's 2 homes on 1 lot, which the building inspector had kind of, we agreed that it was a non-conforming use because of the 2 structures on 1 lot. They're proposing work on 1 of the homes. All of the proposed work is conforming to the setbacks. The house is currently conforming to the front, the side, and the rear setback, and also the separation to the other structure. The work we're proposing is a few small additions to the home, the renovation of an existing wraparound porch on the house, and a slight extension of that to kind of aligned with the new addition, and a second-story deck. Again, all that proposed work, as well as the existing structure, meet all the setback requirements for the R3. We're simply here for a finding because the use on the property is non-conforming because of the two structures, and that's basically it.
Anything from the board? Andrew, other than your notes, do you have anything to add?
No, yeah, this is, like I said, it's just, the use is not conforming. We looked at trying to maybe, do some sort of separation of lot, but we couldn't work it and make conforming situations out of anything. So, that's why we're here, and they're just looking to, get this taken care of and have the finding here, under 1012 that, that it meets these things. It's not going to be any more detrimental or objectionable to the neighborhood, and that should satisfy, 48.
Certainly an attractive design.
Yeah, they did a nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, is everything that's proposed technically is conforming on the lot as well.
I kind of like the old house.
It's kind of breezy in the winter.
Yeah. Anything from the audience on this? Anything else from the board? Seems that there's not. I'm going to move that we close 2376 Anthony W. Walker, trustee, 38 Raleigh Road. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Stevie,
And so I'm going to move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for Section 6 finding under 902C, subject to the conditions. This project will require a building permit, a final as-built, conforming to all the requirements of 305-1010C, and a certificate of occupancy based on the finding, and also this, based on the finding that the proposal of 13-foot 1 by 11-foot 2 addition and decks on the non-conforming property, 2 houses on 1 lot located at 38 Raleigh Road in Wrexham, as shown on the architectural plans dated 6/2023 by Alluring Concepts of Pembroke, Mass., 9 pages, and certified location plan dated 3/13/23, revised 7/28/23 by Stenbeck and Taylor Incorporated, Richard Font, PLS, does not increase the non-conforming nature of the structures. Number 6, finding also in 902C of the bylaw, and to deny the request for a special permit as moot.
Second.
And I was just going to say, the board finds that all of the following general conditions of 1 to 10 on special permit to be fulfilled. And now we have a second. Everyone, all in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Stevie,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great night. Thank you.
Number 2379, Robert J. McMorrow.
Well, my pleasure.
Petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to raise the existing house and construct a new 42-foot 7 by 28-foot 5 dwelling on the property located at 44 Plymouth Ave, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel M084404K 12. Oh, 2 of them. Is there 2 of them? K 121510 is located in the R3 zoning district.
McMorrow?
Oh, am I reading the wrong thing?
You skipped one.
Did I read the wrong one?
You're 2379. Well,
No, 2378.
well,
Oh, I did.
you read,
Oh, you know what? I read Plymouth Ave.
It's
and-
2377.
I did that before.
2377. Here it is. Here's well.
Oh, Mary St. Okay, I have it here.
All right, so who are you doing?
Mary B. St. Pierre. The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1109.
Like, what are we doing?
Sorry. 1109 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to create an 859 square foot accessory apartment with the proposed addition on the property located at 425 Casual Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on L040150 and is located in the R2 zoning district. Go ahead.
Good evening. I've never done this before, so I apologize. I'm just asking that my family and I be allowed to build the small addition at 425 Careswell, and that that accessory apartment would be for myself.
Okay.
She doesn't need zoning approval for the special permit, I don't believe.
I can't
What's
hear
that?
you.
I don't believe Ms. St. Pierre needs zoning approval for the addition. I think she's here just for the apartment.
Just the apartment, okay.
Is that correct, Andrew?
Yes. Yeah, the house conforms, the lot conforms. They're gonna do an addition, and what she's asking is that, you know, obviously we don't have to wait the 3 years anymore, so she just is asking that that you approve the accessory apartment so that they know going forward that they'll be able to build it this way. And so I've met with them, about the design, I've gone over it. There are gonna be a couple little changes that'll actually, they're gonna have doors that kind of go through, the existing structure here and tie the houses in together on the interior. And, basically, all the size stuff works out, and this is definitely under 40% of the existing structure. And yeah, so she's gonna move in there so that she can live with her family.
Sounds great. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, with the, it was discussed at the planning meeting the other day, that every time one of these accessory apartments are approved, that it goes on the housing count, kind of a negative towards the allotment for 40B.
Yep.
Now,
It's counted toward our 10%.
correct.
But we don't have any, I thought it was that they don't have any way to calculate that, so they're not calculating it, from what my meeting with Greg was. They're not counting them.
I don't think it's
They're
counted,
not counting.
because there's no,
Doesn't,
yeah, it doesn't hit on either end. It doesn't hit on the total apartments, and it doesn't hit on
So it's
the affordable.
What?
Can I just with that, I think what they were referencing to was detached accessory dwelling units.
Okay.
That those would count against the 10%.
But this doesn't go either way.
This does not when you have an accessory, a residential accessory apartment within the dwelling unit.
Okay.
I don't believe that counts against the 10%. I think it's only that if we were to allow detached accessory dwelling units, that's what they consider would go against the 10%.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody? So I'll move that we close 2377 Mary B. St. Pierre, 425 Caswell Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conley, aye?
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Heaney, aye.
And I would move that the board vote to grant the special permit for an accessory apartment, subject to the conditions. This will require a building permit, a certified as-built, and a certificate of occupancy, allowing the owner at 425 Caswell Street, Marshfield, Mass. to add an accessory residential apartment as shown on proposed addition plan, not dated and signed. The plan being plan, not dated and signed. The elevation plans, Paul D. Spiro of Abington, dated 6/1/2022, 9 pages, and the plot plan 425 Caswell Street, dated December 18th, 2021, by James E. McGrath, PLS, and proposed project as condition complies with the requirements set forth in section 1109 of the Marshfield zoning bylaw. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conley, aye?
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Heaney, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So now are we on to which one did I read in?
Robert
McMorrow?
McMorrow,
McMorrow?
2379.
I already read it in, so I don't have to read it again, right, Chief? I don't have to read this again.
Really your turn now.
Now you're back. I skipped over Form Mary. So, I already read it in, so go ahead.
All right, so my name is Dana Jr. I'm here in the stead of Jed Hannon for Atlantic Coast Engineering. This is Bob McMorrow, who owns the property. We're here today to raise an existing two-bedroom house at 44 Plymouth Avenue and to rebuild in its place a larger structure, however, not any closer to the existing lot lines than it was before. In fact, it's about 6 inches narrower than it was before. So it's a pre-existing non-conforming structure on a pre-existing non-conforming lot. And you can see by the site plan there, it's an existing one-story wood frame structure with the setbacks. Again, that they're conforming on the front and the rear, and they're non-conforming on the sides. And they want to raise that and, again, replace it with a two-bedroom, one-bath structure, one story, two baths, I'm sorry, one story still. And it's conforming on the front setback and the rear setback, and no more non-conforming on the side setbacks. That makes sense.
Andrew, have anything to add?
No, this
Other than
is
your
pretty-
notes?
Yeah, pretty standard request for raise and rebuild, utilizing the existing footprint.
Anything from the board?
No, I'm good.
I have nothing.
Anything from the audience? The online audience? Seeing that there isn't, I move to close 2379 Robert J. McMorrow.
Can I just ask a question?
What?
Just about the storage of the,
Oh, yeah,
Those parts.
Cindy Castro wanted to say if you guys end up storing the trailers in the parking lot down there for a long period of time or whatever, to get the okay from the select board if that happens. We're not saying it's gonna, just to be.
it's a modular home, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right?
Got it, yep.
So, I'll put that in. So, all right, so did I say?
I can't.
Where are they going
What's that?
Where are they going to be?
But just if they're gonna use the parking lot, they
They're
just
gonna
need
use
to
it
go to the
for
select board for permission.
hypothetical situation.
Oh,
So, did we close Robert J. McMorrow, 44 Plymouth Ave? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
And the board finds that the following general conditions 1 through 10 of the special permit to be fulfilled. I move that the board vote to grant the special permit, subject to the conditions. This project will require compliance with the floodplain bylaw, building permit.
It's not a flood zone, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll be striking. This project will require compliance with a building permit, a certified as-built, conforming to the requirements of 305-1010C, and a certificate of occupancy, allowing the owner of 44 Plymouth Ave, Marshfield, Mass., to raise and reconstruct the existing home at 44 Plymouth Ave, Marshfield, Mass., as shown on an Excel home plans dated 6/15/23, 6 pages. A plot plan, raise and rebuild plan dated March 16, 2023, by C&G Survey Company. Since the proposed project and conditions comply with the requirements set forth in section 305-1012 of the Marshfield zoning bylaw. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Is that everything, Nancy?
Just
Thank you, guys.
approval of minutes.
Luck.
Approved minutes, that's Larry. Larry has the floor,
Why can't my meetings go like this?
because you're
You can
at
have
them.
everything, Dan.
You didn't show up like this. See, this guy's the good luck charm. He showed up.
I'm gonna bring him next time.
Yeah, bring him with you.
Yeah, just to vote,
Nice.
Yeah.
to approve the minutes from September 12th.
Move to approve as drafted?
Approved. Second? All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn?
Second? All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Lights out.